Engineer Adeniyi Olubiyi is a mechanical engineer with extensive experience and management skills. A graduate of Federal University of Technology, Akure, he is a technology-driven individual. He successfully designed Bovas lubricating plant (EPIC) with special details to plot plans, piping general arrangements, and 3D equipment models with Revit architecture, MEP, and PDMS softwares. He has consulted for Apple and PL Limited in the design of a bucket elevator, screw and chain conveyor system for the processing of soya bean, and assisted in the fabrication of a soya bean silo, fabric fabrication of a mixing kettle for the production and packaging of soya oil. He successfully designed, developed, and supported live projects such as 2D and 3D designs and modeling of Ibara and Itaoshi major fountain roundabout for the Ogun State Ministry of Works and Housing. He is vast in the computer programming as well as he developed an expert system for the repair and maintenance of bulldozers work equipment. He also developed a program on computer-aided approach to maintenance and planning of automotive and workshop using QE model. With his vast and refined experience, he decided to establish Poland Ventures Nigeria Limited. In 2018, Poland Ventures was established as an independent organization to provide building and architectural services to both public and private establishments. The company has placed an industrial focus for knowledge and technology development, as well as to showcase our high-quality services, rendering good value abilities with an appreciation for our nature-beautified community. He is married with two kids. Please, let's welcome Engineer Adeniyi to the platform. You have the platform, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Um, I am glad to be
Good
with.
evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be with the engineers this evening, and I'm very sure that we will be able to, at the end of this presentation, we'll be able to pick one or two things that will be useful towards our life projects and progress, careers, job opportunities, and the rest. Like I said earlier, I want to proceed to AutoCAD designs, which I would say it is very similar to Autodesk Inventor. But I would put it this way: Autodesk Inventor is a 3D oriented program. Like I said, it is majorly produced, it functions properly for mechanical engineers, unlike the AutoCAD, which is pretty general in every field of engineering, like civil, mechanical, electrical, and the rest. So the AutoCAD allows you for visualization and modeling as well. But for simulation, you will have to use a program like Autodesk Inventor when you use AutoCAD to produce a 3D machine. So in most cases, AutoCAD is most reliable and includes industry-specific tool sets, helpful for designing motor components, engine, and complete devices. It is always useful for AutoCAD when you are looking at a precision design machine. AutoCAD helps you with a more, I would say, AutoCAD helps you to be more defined with your 3D. But when you need assembly and simulation, that is where Autodesk Inventor will definitely have to come in. The ability to regulate the visual aspects of text, develop dimension styles into 3D models, these are a few advantages of AutoCAD in actual fact. And in AutoCAD, you don't have to go through a long process just to adjust your drawing, which is very common with Autodesk Inventor. As a result, if you have assembled your machine and you need a little adjustment to a part in the machine, you have to explode first, then you start to give it an adjustment. The moment you adjust a part, it is very likely that it affects 2 or 3 other parts. Don't forget, in simulation, you have to assemble the parts together for that machine to work. So it could affect at one stage or the other your machine design. But in AutoCAD, it is not likely that happens because it is majorly used to produce parts, to draw parts in pieces, in fractions. So the advantage of AutoCAD, I would say it's pretty much accurate than Autodesk Inventor, and it is a more dynamic program in engineering. Possibly, I will use this as an example. If you as a mechanical engineer who is specialized in HVAC, definitely you will need a program like MEP, which is a mechanical electrical, that is Autodesk MEP, mechanical electrical plumbing. When you have your designs in AutoCAD, it is possible for you to easily import into other Autodesk programs that designs as well. But when you run your designs or when you have your machine designed in Autodesk Inventor, it is most likely impossible for you to have a proper importation to other Autodesk programs, which involves the design as well. So it is easier to use the AutoCAD simply because of the dynamic advantage. But don't forget, like I said, the AutoCAD cannot simulate. So even if you have a machine designed in a 3D machine is designed in AutoCAD, it lacks one thing: you cannot simulate. Two, you are unable to have those parts assembled in terms of their constraints. You are unable to have a moving part showing appropriately on how it's going to move. That is going into link mechanism. That is at a certain stage, I think 300 level or 400 level course in mechanical engineering. In AutoCAD, excuse me, in AutoCAD, you're unable to do all of this. But AutoCAD is pretty simpler to use to Autodesk Inventor, and it saves time, it saves money, it has an easier data transfer, like I mentioned, and the database is pretty much less prolific compared to Autodesk Inventor. Now let us go into the similarities and the advantage. I would say the similarities between Inventor and AutoCAD programs. AutoCAD and Inventor are both professional grade and powerful modeling software from Autodesk. That is undoubted. Then they will provide you with highly customized tool, which at a learning stage, you are able to, each of these programs have their specific tool to perform specific instructions. I would say is Inventor compatible with AutoCAD? Well, to some extent, it is. That is at the drawing, and that is at the 2D stage, not at the 3D. The 3D is practically impossible for you to export to AutoCAD. That is the constraint between AutoCAD and Inventor. So in most cases, it is preferably that you have your 2D design in AutoCAD, then import to Inventor and start to run your 3D, that is evolve, maybe revolve, or explode, or like I have mentioned earlier. Then what are the key differences between AutoCAD and Inventor? An Inventor is visually and technically user-friendly, as it is pretty simple, that it is pretty simpler for machine designs as a result of the constraints and the way it's programmed compared to AutoCAD. AutoCAD is difficult to use and adapt due to generic domain. Generic domain in the sense that it has too many commands for you to be able to run the 3D compared to the Inventor, especially for machine designs. Then I'd say AutoCAD works based on design and discovering new items, while Inventor targets specific user, especially for testing in motion. This is trying to talk about the simulation aspect that I've mentioned earlier. It helps you also. Inventor helps you majorly for simulation. It is practically for real, or let me, a real-time simulation of a machine, of how it works, and if there is going to be one or two adjustments, or if they are at the stage of material selection, Inventor will definitely allow you to do all of this. And since AutoCAD is used for designing and that, it is more used than Inventor, as it ensures the right materials used for before any test is made. Then, if the user needs to work with a technical aspect of a program or device, then using Inventor will be perfect than AutoCAD, which I have mentioned earlier. Inventor incorporates 3D modeling, like I have mentioned, that it is majorly, it functions majorly for 3D designs of machines. And while AutoCAD lasts in this since it is primarily a 2D, and later the 3D came into AutoCAD. An inventor can distinguish between assemblies, parts, 2D drawings, unlike AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, it is pretty much difficult for you to run your assemblies, and put in your constraints for each of these parts. Then the inventor can update the existing geometry based on the updates within the base part of the geometry. That is to say, okay, let's pick this for example. Like I mentioned that in after assembling your combustion engine, if at a stage of assembly you forgot to put in the piston ring, AutoCAD Inventor will let you know. And at the stage of putting it in, it will update it for all other piston at the same time, knowing that each of these piston needs a piston ring. In AutoCAD, you are unable to do that because assembly is pretty much impossible. That's one of the advantages of Inventor over AutoCAD. Then let's talk about the business advantages of CAD design. One of the reasons why we engineers need to have knowledge of most of these CAD design programs, majorly Inventor and AutoCAD. CAD is used by engineers and designs in manufacturing businesses to develop 2D products for purpose of visualization and digital testing. Digital testing is the simulation stage. Like I said, it will help you to cut down on useful expenses. It will cut down on production expenses. The moment you are able to design your machine to near perfection, where we all know there is no machine that has 100% efficiency, but when you're able to design your machine to a near perfection and simulate it according to durability on the computer, this will help you generally to be able to fabricate these machines according to specifications, where there will be no trial and error. Designs can be viewed from all angles with a range of materials, and some testings and consumer feedback can be done before costly production takes place. In most countries, developed countries nowadays, where they have the run manufacturings, there is no stage of the machine. There is no production of any machine that wouldn't have passed through simulation. That is, it will pass the natural efficiency of machine production. So, as a mechanical engineer and as an engineer, you should be able to perform properly at this stage. Technology has grown that technology is taking over human effort. Technology is taking over human day-to-day activity. Nowadays, there was a time where you have the manual gear system. Now you have the automatic gear system. Even in trailers now, you are in heavy-duty machines, you have the automatic gear systems. In bringing all of this will definitely help. I would have passed a certain stage of simulation and accreditation where there wouldn't be trial and error. Like I said, there was a time that we designed a conveyor belt system for apple and pears in the production of soya bean oil. Before we ever produced that machine, the system, the conveyor system, it was designed it was designed with an Autodesk Inventor. It shows the capacity at that stage. We're able to determine the capacity of the conveyor belt. That is one. We are able to simulate and see the volume of soya beans that it can pack at a time. So for every cup that is attached to the conveyor belt, we know that, okay, fine, this cup takes 2 kg of, this cup can take, that can accommodate 2 kg of soya beans. If we increase the size of the cup, then we are able to take more, maybe 1.2 or 1.5 kg of soya beans at the time. That is, when we are able to increase the cup on that conveyor belt, it takes more materials and increases production in a lesser time. What I'm saying in essence is this: when they're able to produce more in a lesser time, simply because they have a machine that can help them supply material at a quicker rate, invariably they are able to have more income. This machine was produced and it is still functioning up to this stage, which it would have faced the stress test, it would have faced the limit test and the rest, which you are able to determine if this machine is going to function properly or it's not going to function properly. This will eradicate anything they call human error and these trial and error activities with machines. And one way or the other, it is taking away job opportunities for people who have less knowledge, because now that machine is programmed, it is controlled by someone who understand who understand how that system works. So instead of having 2, 3 people having to take to supply this material, the conveyor system packs these beans, drop it into the set where it will into the cooker where it's going to it will be cooked and be processed into oil. That's one of the advantages of you being able to have the CAD knowledge, and you'll be able to design this machine for acceptability. AutoCAD and Inventor program is used by various people. It can be used by architects, which is very pretty common with AutoCAD, architectural designers and drafters, electrical and electronic engineers. The electrical and electronic engineers use the AutoCAD for circuit simulation. They use it to draw circuit diagrams majorly and run their simulation on it. So each of these simulation determines if the circuit is going to work properly. Then it is used by mechanical engineers, that is the inventor, by plumbing designers, the HVAC system, and mechanical electrical plumbing designers. It is also used by the industrial engineers and designers, manufacturing engineers, and so on. The career opportunities in CAD design and engineering spreads across. Examples lies in the aerospace and aviation. For every aircraft designed, it would have passed through simulation automatically. It is one of their requirements. No aircraft is designed with that would not pass through aerodynamics, and this is another part in Autodesk Inventor. Like I mentioned earlier, and I showed earlier, I showed a vehicle that is simulated with speed. This is the same thing with aerospace and aviation. And in consumer products and manufacturing, all of these CAD designs are pretty useful. Oil and gas is another section that is useful with AutoCAD Inventor, especially in piping arrangements for piping who are people who are aspiring to be piping engineers. Autodesk Inventor is a program that is pretty useful, and a knowledge and a certification in such programs helps you, puts you in an advantageous position over people who are not computer literate with CAD designs. It's pretty useful in construction, civil and structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, mechatronics, and the rest. Additional softwares that one can use that works with Autodesk Inventor is the PDMS, the P&ID, that is the process and instrumentation design, the Revit mechanical and plumbing. That is majorly for the people aspiring to be professional in HVAC system. That is the heat,
Sorry, we are not seeing
ventilation,
your
and
screen
air
again.
conditioner. Oh, you can see the screen again? 1 minute,
Yes.
please. You can see the screen now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so additional softwares that works with Autodesk Inventor is the PDMS, that's the Plans Design and Management System, which is one of the basics to work as a designer and a plant engineer in oil and gas industry. So is the P&ID, that is the Process and Instrumentation Design Program, the Revit Mechanical Electrical Plumbing, which is pretty useful, and the basics. In fact, there was a time that I consulted for a company in Lagos who is into HVAC system, and one of their basic requirements is that Revit Mechanical Electrical Plumbing, that is the Revit MEP, and as well the Autodesk Inventor. Any candidate who has no knowledge about or pretty much a substandard knowledge in those programs would not be considered for employment, because majority of the things that they do are simulated first. They are designed first before they are brought to life. For people aspiring into construction, AutoCAD Civil 3D is another program that is pretty useful, and it is pretty good. Revit structure as well, and the Revit architecture for people aspiring to go into construction. All of these programs are easy to actually learn if there is a desire to it, and it makes your job easier. In fact, it distinguishes you amongst other engineers with no knowledge of all of these programs, because you would have passed through each and every of the design stage before a final production. So I would at this stage stop to accommodate questions from my audience, my fellow engineers in actual fact, so that we can share minds together if there are questions as regards all of them, these programs. If there at one stage or the other you want me to throw light into the usefulness of these CAD programs. And I'm very sure that you will find these programs pretty useful as time goes on, as you pursue professionalism in engineering. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope we understand the little knowledge we are able to share this evening. Thank you so much. All right.
Please, if there's any question, we can just ask now so that we can round up. Any questions?
Okay. Good evening.
Yes,
Yeah,
So
good
sir.
evening.
yes, my name is Ibukun. So my question is pertaining this inventor. I could
Okay.
I could remember when we were in school. Then we did some little projects with that,
Okay.
and also there is a software that we used then. The name is ANSYS,
Okay. Answers.
ANSYS, ANSYS.
Yes. Yes. Answers.
Yes.
I know the
which
program.
which which we had to bring in a pers a a guy to
A
just take,
professional.
yes, so to say. Then took us maybe for
Okay.
1 hour, 2 hours, and we did a little project with that. I think with Engineer Collins then. So my question is, and
Okay.
I know that it's good for design and also simulation. So
Okay.
in advanced simulation, when doing design and for simulation like this,
Okay.
what do you think it's more advanced to use in Inventor and ANSYS? Because then I think we had some kind of uh, notion that ANSYS is more advanced, or so to say, compared to Inventor. So, and
Okay.
how well do professionals use the ANSYS, and which one would you have advised one to be very good at, looking at the current engineering, how engineering has been today? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Can I answer now, or is there any other questions so we can have all the questions together and I can answer directly?
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Um, Good evening, everyone. Please, I want to
Okay.
know what is the requirement needed to learn the AutoCAD and Autodesk Inventor software, and also can you train people on AutoCAD and Autodesk Inventor software? These are just the two questions I have.
Okay. That's the second question. If there are other questions, can you kindly let me know, please? I'll be glad to answer. Okay. If there are no further question, uh, let me answer this Engineer Nubi's question. ANSYS is an inventor. Let me put it this way: uh, there is always a program that is designed for specifics. ANSYS is a program that is designed for majorly simulation. You know, there are pretty much other 3D mechanical design programs like SolidWorks and some others in actual fact. But at the stage of design, Inventor is most preferable. But for simulation, ANSYS is more detailed than Inventor. That's what I would say. So the two works hand in hand. ANSYS cannot give you a proper 3D design in actual fact, details in terms of parts, assembly, explode, blah blah blah, and the detailing. But when you put your machine together for detailed simulation, ANSYS is a better program than Inventor. So I would say that if you decide to learn Inventor and put aside ANSYS, well, it's like saying you decided to buy a car and decide not to put in the fuel. Definitely, the car can function, but it won't function properly without the fuel. You know, definitely nowadays we have the electric cars and the rest of them, but uh, the simulation aspect of the simulation aspect of Inventor is more detailed, is more profound with ANSYS because ANSYS is a program that is designed for simulation. Therefore, it's like when you're looking at Inventor and AutoCAD. AutoCAD, you can design machines with AutoCAD in 3D, but you won't be able to assemble, see in parts. That is how ANSYS and Inventor works. So when you want a proper simulation, a detailed simulation, real life simulation of your machine, then ANSYS comes in. In fact, Autodesk is working on a program that is called Autodesk Simulator, which can conveniently rival ANSYS. But at this stage and at this moment, ANSYS is a more detailed program for simulation that works directly with Autodesk Inventor. Then on to the second question. For the requirements for Autodesk Inventor, requirements to learn Autodesk Inventor and AutoCAD. Well, Autodesk Inventor is a 3D driven program, and most 3D driven program is requires some system, some degree of system functionalities. Most laptops that are produced nowadays, let me say anything from sixth gen, seventh gen, and the rest of them will be able to undo that program properly as Autodesk Inventor, or let me say as Autodesk updates their program year in, year out to help with flexibility and productivity. So, as an engineer, definitely there we have in school we are taught some basic knowledge of engineering in terms of machine designs. But for you to be able to put it into real life, I mean, for you to be able to put it into design stage at the computer stage, definitely you need a laptop or a computer system that can conveniently run the program and basic computer knowledge. There is nothing so specific or spectacular that is required for you to learn Inventor. As long as you're an engineer and you have passed through the machine design process or machine design stage in school, conveniently you'll be able to handle Autodesk Inventor and AutoCAD as well. And I would advise that tutorials are pretty much available for people who are not who are pretty far away and who wouldn't be able to have on the one-on-one training. As at the company, there's a section that we train people in with these programs that like Inventor, AutoCAD, Revit MEP, Revit Architecture, and the rest of them. But there are tutorials, video tutorials that can conveniently help you to gain equal knowledge like someone who is available on the spot to train. And if there are questions at the stage of learning that you need to ask, you can conveniently reach out to us. It's something that it's it's something you will be able to answer you adequately, and we check on you at every stage of the learning. Give assignments, give projects to let us know that you are actually learning this thing and you are understanding the purpose and the usage of all of these programs, because these are programs that are pretty much useful at the labor market today. I've handled so many projects that we had to go through the design stage, then we present to the clients, and at that stage, the project is acceptable. That is when we talk about the fabrication, or we talk about the implementation of whatever we have designed or whatever we have programmed. I hope I'm able to answer the questions, and other questions is pretty welcome. Are pretty welcome by me if there are any.
Okay, seems we have another question. Somebody is raising up his hand. Please carry on.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is
Good evening,
Muiwa.
sir.
I appreciate Engineer Dini for your time and then uh, for this thing that you are doing for everyone. We are not taking
You're
it for
welcome.
granted.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, sir.
But then I just wanted to ask that, okay, thank God that you mentioned that you guys have training for people, but I would like to ask
Please.
again. that is there is there any form of certifications on these softwares that people can actually go for and then I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that like me now, I'm a kind of person that I don't really enjoy learning through videos. Like I believe that it is until when I go through a process like okay, a schooling process, okay, so that I know that I've actually put in effort and resources into this so that I can uh, actually get what I'm looking for. With that being said, I want to ask again now. With the rate of unemployment in the country now, this knowledge of these softwares will be a good advantage for any engineer. However, I want to ask
Definitely.
now if you are saying that okay, we should learn all these softwares and the likes, and maybe since we work hard and we get jobs, we get something. I want to know if the opportunities are there. And if those opportunities are there, or if the opportunities are not there, do you see that yeah, the the field of design as it is now, do you feel that okay, there is space for remote jobs? Okay, maybe you are not employed in a company. Okay, you want to do somewhere and be doing your thing. Do you see such opportunities available? Since you are a professional and you're already in this, I believe you get what I'm the question, sir.
I understand you clearly, sir. I understand you clearly, sir. Well, there are certifications, especially produced by, provided by Autodesk, um, for these programs. Um, and these certifications are internationally recognized, especially with multinational companies, and it gives an ample chance. Like I said earlier, most things are computerized now. That is one. Two, uh, engineering field, they try as much as possible to cut down on losses, majorly cost of production, process, and at the cost of production and process stage. They try as much as possible to cut down on the losses that they make. So for it's like someone who has a knowledge, someone who is joining a construction firm and who has a knowledge of AutoCAD and possibly Revit architecture. I'm using that as an example. That kind of person has a better chance of employment than someone who is just a draft, or let me say, on sheet engineer. Most projects nowadays, they pass through the design stage. In fact, there are some sites online where an example like fiverr.com, and that is the fiverr.com, where projects are given out, looking for people who can actually do it, and they pay them back. There was a time that I engaged in. I took some projects through that means, and I recommended it to some of my students who are actually making good use of that site now. It is international, where they pay them back in dollars, depending. And these programs helps you to bring in more incomes at the comfort of your home, regardless of whatever you do with your day. At home, you can sit down with your computer when you have a project to do, or when you win a contract, you sit down, you make the design, you present it, it's acceptable, they pay you. Me, I would say, I as a person, majority of the projects we engage in, not all of them are projects that we are opportune to. establish ourselves. But when it comes to the design of that project, like the one that I mentioned earlier in the CV, that I designed the bara and exhaustion fountain. That was one of the projects that came from the Ministry of Works. They needed the design for presentation. It was brought to us. We did the design, and the company that handled it employed one of us, one of my students, in actual fact, as a site engineer, someone who has passed through the design stage and who understands the nitty gritty of what they have designed. And today, well, the guy is not in the country any longer. He won, he traveled with his family and had the opportunity to work with his skill. He's working with one of the construction company in Canada, in actual fact. And the feedbacks from him has actually encouraged me to even, it's part of the things that encouraged me to start to put together video tutorials for people who are out, who are not, who are outside the environs, or who are a little out of reach, that they can learn, improve themselves, write the AutoCAD exam, get certified, and this will definitely boost their CVs for international employment or even local multinational companies, which over time it has helped some of the students, and majority of them in actual fact. I have a friend who learned PDMS and Autodesk Inventor. He's in Port Harcourt today working with Shell, not in their design room, but with the knowledge that he has with pipe routing. It helped him to gain that employment, even pretty much over other people that are considered. And I've seen over time with the little experience, with the experience that I've seen with employment status in the country, they prefer someone who has both the computer knowledge of the design and an engineer than someone who they definitely can come around, have the on the spot performance, but as a result of try this, try that, and the rest of them, it discourages. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. It discourages these companies. A company like CAC, that is consulting something. I will try and check the name of that company again. It's in Lekki. They are majorly into mechanical, electrical, plumbing. They use the Revit MEP and the Autodesk Inventor majorly for their HVAC system. The interviews that are done through them uh, are at the design stage. They will invite you for interview. After the written test, they will give you the program. It is a requirement that for them to employ you, you must have that knowledge. You must be certified. So you have to come around and put in place or show them your skill so they can give you a project and tell you, okay, fine, run the HVAC system of this building. It is your skill set, your ability to be able to use that program that can actually make you pass that stage and make you employable by them. And there are so many companies like that as well that goes through this stage of Revit MEP, AutoCAD, and Autodesk Inventor, Revit Architecture. So many of those programs because they know clearly that if you are a design engineer and you cannot bring your design into computing, make it feasible, the concept you have in your mind, make it feasible on the computer, then no one is ready to do the try and error, let us do this, let us do this. Whatever you have in your mind as the concept, you should be able to show it through the design or through the use of a program to be able to win the heart of your customers or win the heart of your employer and show your skill sets. And I think this will help you. It will make you, it put you in a better place for employability, both in the country and even in the technology world generally. I think I'm able to answer your questions, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate your time this evening. So, who is raising up bandage? Okay,
I'm
please.
the one. Hello.
Hello. This will be the last question, please.
Yeah, well, I'm not actually going to ask a question. Thank you very much, Engineer Adeni. From my
Thank you so much.
observation, it will be better if we can take this back to the foundation of our engineering studies. From my experience here as well, um, computer-aided designs, computer-aided manufacturing is the hit thing when if you're going to succeed in the engineering field. But these skills are not
Definitely.
taught in our schools. That is where I am majorly concerned. I can see some of our lecturers back in school on this page. Engineer Collins is there, and I'm hoping that he can probably take this back to our academic team and see how we can begin to inculcate these courses from the academic standpoint. Because definitely, if these courses can be taught from the school and engineers are graduating with these powerful skills, definitely they will be better positioned for good employment and global
Definitely.
opportunities. So that's just my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Engineer Calabria.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Dini and every other person. Okay, we have please, Engineer Collins. Oh, sorry, Dr.
Oh,
Collins,
sorry,
please
Secretary.
take over.
Just 10 seconds to respond to K. Well, while you were in school, things that may be your comment, but people are here that will attest to the fact that CAD and CAM is intact, and guys are doing fine from the little we're able to give them at Ibogu. Thank you.
Me no good. All right. Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that is all for now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.